Welcome to this complete deep dive into a gentle giant that we may all have forgotten just a little too quickly. Today, we step into the world of the draft horse. And make no mistake, this is not some dusty relic of the past that you only ever see in old films. It is, in fact, an ultra-modern partner, completely eco-friendly, and firmly turned toward the future. So whether you are a future buyer or simply a passionate horse lover, we are going to look together at how to bring this quiet powerhouse back into our farming and recreational world today. But let's ask the real question right away. Why is the draft horse becoming so essential again in our time? It's true, you might think that once the big tractors arrived after the Second World War, animal traction was ancient history. Well, not at all. We are living through a genuine ecological revival right now. These gentle giants are taking back their place at the very heart of sustainable practices, and honestly, this spectacular comeback deserves a closer look. Here's what we'll explore today. First, we'll define what a draft horse really is. Then we'll look at its modern, eco-friendly uses. We'll tour the main breeds from both France and the English-speaking world. We'll talk about its health and upkeep, and we'll finish with a hands-on buying guide for beginners. Let's jump straight into part 1, discovering the draft horse. At its root, the word draft, like the French trait, comes from the Latin trahere, which simply means to pull, to haul. So a draft horse is an animal that has been specifically selected over many centuries for its incredible pulling ability, whether that meant dragging a plow or hauling heavy carriage. But what is truly fascinating is the contrast in this animal. It combines a supermassive build with an utterly calm, easygoing temperament. And really, that makes sense. Without that exceptional gentleness, it would simply be mission impossible to handle so much raw power. To grasp that power, keep this figure in mind, 1.5. A draft horse can pull up to 1.5 times its own body weight. Picture the scene for a moment. A magnificent 1-ton horse hauling, without even straining, a load of 1,500 kilos, that's around 3,300 pounds. It's a real demonstration of strength, made possible by an ultra-wide frame, fairly short legs, and a back muscled like steel. So it's important to make the distinction. It's a bit like comparing a weightlifter to a long-distance runner. On one side you have the draft horse, massive, weighing between 600 and 1,200 kilos, that's roughly 1,300 to 2,650 pounds, and standing anywhere from about 16 to 19 hands, built for the heavy loads with a wonderfully serene mind. On the other, the classic riding horse, far lighter at 400 to 600 kilos, around 900 to 1,300 pounds, with an athletic outline for sport and riding, and a temperament that can be a little more explosive or variable. Different size, different job, truly worlds apart. Which brings us to our second point, the modern, eco-friendly uses of our four-legged weightlifter. Contrary to popular belief, the draft horse has never been more modern. Its jobs today line up perfectly with our environmental priorities. Take organic farming or the vineyards, for example. The horse's passage protects the life of the soil and completely avoids the ground compaction that a tractor would cause. In the forest, for log skidding, it's magic. It can pull timber out of the tricky spots without crushing the young saplings all around. And of course, it's the star of leisure driving and rural tourism. In short, it is the sustainable partner par excellence. Now let's move to our third section and meet the stars of this world, the main draft breeds. Broadly, we can split these horses into two big teams. On one side, the very heavy. Here we're talking about the true heavyweights, from 800 to 1,100 kilos, that's roughly 1,750 to 2,400 pounds, built for pure, hard pulling. Think of the French Percheron, the Ardennes, or the Trait du Nord, and of course the famous English-speaking giants, the towering Shire, the iconic Clydesdale, the powerful Belgian, also known as the Brabant, and the pure-pulling Suffolk Punch. These are ideal for deep plowing. And on the other side, the lighter team, between 600 and 800 kilos, around 1,300 to 1,750 pounds, like the lighter Breton or the Norman cob. These offer far more liveliness, which is perfect for market gardening or everyday driving. Let's take a quick tour of some jewels. There's the Percheron, the huge international star, found today from France to North America. There's the Bolognese, with its magnificent grey coat, often nicknamed the thoroughbred of draft horses. The Breton, the king of versatility on every kind of ground. The Norman cob, prized for its boundless energy and its speed in harness. And let's not forget the Shire and the Clydesdale, true forces of nature and household names across Britain and America. Incredible diversity, isn't it? But hold on, because when it comes to the numbers, there's one absolute winner, the Comtois. In France, the Comtois alone accounts for 37% of the national draft population. That's enormous. We're approaching 15,000 horses. Originally from the Franche-Comté region, this horse, with its often flaxen blonde mane, has won everyone over thanks to its very manageable size, its great gentleness, and its unmatched versatility, whether that's working the vineyards or heading out for a drive. So, Owning a draft horse is wonderful, but you have to feed it. Section 4. Health, Feeding, and Husbandry. Brace yourselves, because here's what it puts away. 15 to 25 kilos, that's roughly 33 to 55 pounds, is the daily amount of forage, hay, and straw you need to plan for a working draft horse. That is literally double a normal riding horse. You have to understand that taking on an animal of this size demands almost military logistics just to store the feed. It is the fuel for the engine. And one very down-to-earth detail, a lot of food going in also means mountains of manure to manage on the way out. On the health side, there are a few very specific things to watch. In particular, keep an eye out for CPL, chronic progressive lymphedema, a common problem in the breeds that carry long hair or feathering on their lower legs. Watch out too for muscle disorders linked to a diet too rich in starch, for arthritis brought on by their own body weight, and for laminitis. And don't forget that their enormous hooves need regular, careful attention. All of this leads us straight to the question of budget. Count on roughly 400 to 800 euros a year, that's around $450 to $900, just for basic veterinary care. And don't forget the farrier. Forging and fitting shoes onto hooves the size of a dinner plate takes more steel, more time, and so it costs more. That's exactly why buying a draft horse has to be a passion, yes, but above all a financially responsible decision. Which is the perfect transition to our last part, the buying guide. So how do you actually go about it? Prices on the market vary enormously depending on one major factor, the animal's training. If you go for a foal or a young, unbroken horse, you're looking at between 500 and 1,500 euros. For a started adult, meaning one with the basics of its education in place, count on 1,500 to 3,500 euros. But if you want an experienced horse, already well-trained, reliable and ready to work calmly, then the budget climbs from 3,500 to well over 10,000 euros. Experience and safety are priceless. If you're ready to take the plunge, here are the 3 golden rules of buying. Number 1. Get out on the ground. Visit specialized breeders, go to the agricultural fairs, watch the horses, and talk with the breeders. Number 2. Always check the paperwork, in particular the official registration papers, the stud book, in France that's the sire database, to be sure of the horse's origins. And number 3, the essential step. Have a pre-purchase veterinary exam done before you sign anything, so you can be certain your future partner is in perfect health. And there we are, we've reached the end of our tour. I'll leave you with this thought. What if the future of our sustainable agriculture rested, quite simply, on the broad shoulders of these giants? When you see their respect for the soil, their tiny environmental footprint, and the enthusiasm they spark in our vineyards and our forests, you realize it's far more than a beautiful tradition. It's a real solution for the future. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive, and that it made you want to get a little closer to these exceptional horses. If it did, subscribe for more. See you very soon.